Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Point of Difference podcast. I'm your host, Angus Henskins.
And I'm co-host Jack Shora.
And today we are interviewing Tyler Robertson.
And very excited to break it down with Tyler, talking about his professional career currently with the Sydney Kings.
Tyler Robertson, how are you going, mate?
Dude, enjoying life. We're in the summer, baby.
100%. A Sydney summer better than a Melbourne summer?
Definitely not. Melbourne's the best city in the world, bro. We already know that.
Do they produce the best basketballers?
1,000%.
Oh, dude.
No question asked.
Is that endorsed by Kicks?
No.
No.
Well, yes, as well.
Well, it's good to have you in Sydney. It is a lovely, lovely summer that we've been having. How are you finding living in Sydney?
Dude, it's expensive as hell.
Oh,
but
man.
I like it. It's a good city. I mean, back in a major city, back in Australia. Coming home after 6 years of college, it's fun to be back and around family and friends again.
Let's talk a little bit about how all this started, how you got into basketball, and sort of when you took it seriously, when you started really getting into it in a competitive way.
I started playing when I was like 4 years old. We were into Magic, which is in like the Kilsyth League. Fun fact was my first basket ever was for the other team, and we lost 2-0. We lost 2-0.
2-0.
You can only go up from there. Just crying to my mum after the game. Had to sub myself out because I was distraught that I just scored for the other team.
That's going to be like a first. Like, how many pros have scored an own basket as their first basket?
I don't know about the first basket, but I saw a thing about Dane Pinot. He talked about scoring for the other team when he first started playing too. So shout out Dane Pinot, me and him just getting buckets for the other team.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't I had two older brothers, so I just watched them play all the time. We're a really sporty family. My first sport I ever played was actually cricket.
Right.
First thing that I thought I was going to take seriously. And then that quickly came to an end when I hit 1-4 for the whole season. So I thought, it's time to hang it up.
Move on.
Were you a batsman?
I like to think so, but I was one of those kids with like all the kit, proper cricket bat, heavy cricket bat, wanted to use it. No, it just wasn't it. So then, it was just like footy and basketball. Kind of had to pick when I was like 14 what I was going to do. I was good at both, but not like really good at either. Mm-hmm. So 14 years old was kind of when I picked basketball. Obviously, it's panned out for now. But yeah, I'd say like 14, 15 was when I really took it seriously. And then it was just like, that's kind of when I wanted to go to college. College was always the dream of mine and see where I could end up from there. And so once I got that opportunity, I got offered when I was 16, committed before my senior year. So before year 12 started. So it was kind of nice. I didn't have like the pressure of trying to figure out where I was going to go, what offers I did or didn't have. I committed early, knew where I was going, and then just got to have fun and just relax while I was playing.
Yep. Which rep club did you play for, juniors?
So I actually started at Warrandyte Venom, which is like a small club not too many people know about in Melbourne. It's kind of like in between like Kilsyth and Eltham. So two bigger clubs on either side, but it was just like a real family vibe there. And we loved it. I played there till the end of my bottom age 16s year and then moved to Dandenong where I started playing top age 16s there and then youth league and Seawolf back in the day.
Cool.
It's funny hearing you say that you weren't necessarily a really good player at 14 in basketball because, you may not understand this, but when you live outside of Victoria, you think of that guy that plays Vic Metro that then plays for Australia as like this evil bastard that's just got really lucky and talented and you're like, I hate all of them. But then, obviously getting to meet you're a great guy. But did you have like a real rapid climb then in sort of how good you were?
I think it was like I played bottom age 12s. So I had 3 years of under 12s and the only person that coached was my dad.
Right.
And then it was kind of like, I'd say like one of the biggest jumps I had was from bottom age under 14s to like bottom age 16s. Jared Leonard, who ended up coaching high school out in Victoria, he just kind of took me under his wing as a 12-year-old and like he saw what I could do and kind of just like believed in me and so it was weird not having my dad coach me, but it was like the best thing for my development at that time. And the 2 years I spent with him were awesome for my basketball and where I was kind of like fell in love with it. Like not easy that my dad was coaching me, but it was like I didn't really feel like that much pressure. Like I knew my dad, I was going to come home, like whether he was mad at how I played or not, he was always going to love me and it was going to be on to the next day. Whereas Jez, he pushed me to be good from bottom age 14s up, and I had 2 years with him, and probably, I'd say like that was one of the biggest jumps I'd had in basketball, which is kind of weird thinking that like from 12 to 14, like that was one of the biggest jumps I had. But no, I credit him a lot for just, it was a small club, not many great coaches were coming out of Warrandyte, not many great players were either. And so being able to be there and like the jump I had with him for bottom age under 14s to top age 14s was instrumental for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool that you had a coach that committed to you that much and put a bit more pressure on you, that sounds like, to be successful. Okay, and so you go from there and you get into high school. Obviously, we know you were playing for the junior Australia teams and playing for the state teams, but didn't go to the COE. What was your high school basketball experience like?
So I started off at Rowville Sports Academy, did 3 years there, and it was kind of like I was playing like the power forward the whole time. Like I was a power forward up until like.
Were you tall?
Top age 18.
Were you taller than everyone else? Is that?
No, I mean at the school, but like.
What were you playing
even on a Friday night, I was playing like the power forward.
Wow. Okay.
So like top age 16 state, bottom age 18 state was like I was a power forward.
Wow.
And it wasn't until like top age 18s, Darren Perry had me, and he kind of like transitioned me out to like the wing.
Yep.
And then that was kind of when I got offered for college. And so being able to make that transition was something I knew I had to do. Like I wasn't going to be able to be a 6'5" power forward for the rest of my career. But yeah, it was like I had to transition to the wing, and Darren Perry gave me a lot of like feedback. He played in the NBL. He was a really good basketballer all through the ranks. And so being able to play for him and him kind of give me the ball and put me in good positions to be able to learn and let me learn through mistakes. Like I think that's one of the biggest things for junior basketballs is being able to learn through mistakes. And obviously everyone makes them. No one's trying to make an error, but being able to play through mistakes and getting to learn, I think is instrumental for everyone's development. And so he allowed me to do that. And then, it was just high school through there. I did 3 years. I kind of left because I was only playing the power forward. Mm-hmm. Like I knew for my basketball to go anywhere, I needed to transition out to like the 2-3. And I wasn't going to be able to do that there. So I moved to Box Hill with Kev Gorgon. And he played me at the point the whole time. And so same thing, he let me play through mistakes. I was year 10 playing point for the first time ever. I was playing with the senior team too. So I was playing on both the year 10 team and the year 11, 12 team. And he kind of gave me, Kelly, LePepe, and then Josh Coonan the keys to like the school and both teams. So I think like those 3 years there in high school was where like my basketball IQ grew a lot, just because I'd grown up playing the power forward, then I was playing on the wing on like a Friday, Saturday for all the other teams, and I was playing the point as well. So I kind of learned every position in those like 3 years. And so being able to do that, play the point, and now funnily enough, I'm playing for his brother in the NBL, playing like that 1-2 spot for him is kind of full circle moment. But yeah, I would say like high school, my biggest jump would have been when I went to Box Hill. Got the keys, and then we got to win a lot of games and lose not many.
you guys won a national championship?
So we won we were year 10 at the time. We won the McDonald's Cup, which is like kind of like the state championship. We didn't do like the school nationals that time because we had an America trip. As a bunch of year 11s, we won everything that year. Plus we won the national championship.
Wow.
And then we came back year 12, and year 12 was like, our team was like pretty much all year 11 in year 11 when we won the national championship. So year 12 was like, we didn't really get good games until like the finals of every competition where we're playing like the Rovilles, the Maribyrnongs, like all the sporting academies down there. But it was still a fun year just because you kind of like, we could show up 5 minutes before the game, not really warm up, and we know we're walking in, we're winning by 20, 25. Like the closest game we had our senior year before we went to America for the America trip, I think it was like 17 points, and that was like when we were playing 2 14-minute running halves. It's like our third game of the day.
Yeah. So, you've always been very shy to tell people how successful your high school team was, so I'm glad it's on the record now. Okay, so I mean, it sounds like you've had a couple of pressure make diamonds experiences then in your junior career, at least, where you've been thrown in the deep end. So then So then you go to college. You go to college after that. Is there anything between?
No, not really. Like I played obviously under 17s in Guam, 18s in Thailand, and then 19s was the World Cup right before I went to college. And I think just like the biggest probably learning experience for me my freshman year at college was like I just came off playing for my national team. I was like one of like 2-3 guys in the position that I was playing at that was like the best in the country for their age. And I think I kind of took that, not like an arrogance about me, but like a confidence where I was like, okay, my shit don't stink a little bit. Like I'm going to walk into college. I'm going to play a lot. Like not going to, like I'll work hard, but like I'm going to kind of walk into a spot and then like you get there and like life gets kind of thrown at you pretty quick. And I guess like I was always like looking around, pointing the finger at like why I wasn't playing.
Right.
And like why I wasn't doing well. I played well like the start of my freshman year. Had a really good game against Boston College, like on the road against an ACC school. And I was like, okay, like I know I can play at this level. Like it's going to be pretty smooth sailing from here on out. Then by the time conference hit, I had like 8 DNPs in a row.
Right.
And I'm like pointing the finger, like calling my parents, like, I don't know if I want to do this. Yeah. Like struggling. But then I was also like, I wasn't really being realistic with myself. Like I was partying every weekend, smoking weed a little bit at the time, not really working on my game a whole lot. And I was like looking around, pointing the finger at like, why the hell aren't I playing? But not like looking internally like, dude, you're not even doing the right steps on like a weekend recovery, anything to like really want to play.
So what do you think? What flipped the switch? What was the change?
Well, I say fortunate enough, like COVID hit. Like I got to go home. I was kind of trapped in the house and it like gave me time to really go back and like, I sat down in front of my TV, watched every game that I played in for the whole, my freshman year. I wrote notes on every game in like a Word document of like what I would rate myself, my stats, each possession I played. And so just being able to review my time and kind of sit around because you're trapped in the house, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
I was able to get like weights from my high school that I could just put in my backyard. Mm-hmm. And then I was just working out 2-3 times a day in the backyard, whether it was lifting weights, ball handling, like going for runs. And then also like my parents just like kind of sit me down, give me a few home truths about like, if you want to play, it's not just going to be smooth sailing. Like you have to go through stuff in basketball and like life in general to be able to like have that adversity hit and be able to like pursue through it rather than just like everything coming easy to you. And so, yeah, I'd say COVID was a big turning point for me. I actually like was home. My coach called me probably, I don't know, a month into me being home saying like, hey, I think I'm going to redshirt you when you come back.
Wow.
So it was like kind of, then it was like, took another turn to where I was like, do I go back or not? Like I already haven't played really my first year. Then I'm going to redshirt my second year. I'm going to be 3 years into college, haven't really played. I was like, do I just want to stay here, go the NBL route, be a development player and try my work my way up through there? And then my parents just said like, this is exactly what we're talking about. Like adversity hits and you're looking to kind of go a different direction of like what you think is going to be more comfortable, what's going to be easier. So I went back, had a really good summer, kind of played myself to a point where my coach couldn't redshirt me. Like I led our team in the summer in almost every statistical category you could. 3-point percentage, field goal percentage, points, rebounds, assists, like less turnovers, and just played myself into a spot where I could play. And so I was really looking forward to season hitting. Season hit, my roommate got COVID. I was out the first game. Then we're going into Arizona I had one practice session before we went to Arizona after having 2 weeks off. Gee. So I was still in our garage, just like garage like this, just working out, lifting weights. Yeah. We had like an outdoor basketball court, like just down the road. Yeah. Me and my roommate going down there, just working out on the outdoor hoop. Like it was just kind of just like a made up story of like what we were living in at the time. Yeah. And then went to Arizona after one practice, had like 14 and 6 off the bench. Yeah. And then just like really solidified myself like, okay, this is a big time Pac-12 school that I just played really well against. And I didn't let myself settle. Like, I think that when I played well my freshman year against Boston College, I kind of just let myself settle like, okay, this is what it's going to look like every game. Whereas I came back, I was like excited to be back in the gym. Like I could work out, get in the gym, shoot, and just found a routine that worked for me. Pretty similar routine to what I have now, even the last 3 years of college and then to being a pro here. And so, yeah, like that kind of turning point was probably COVID, like just real home truths that my parents sat down and told me about, being able to look back on my film from my freshman year and like really look about how serious I really took things. Like, did I want to be a pro, or did I want to be a pro because of things I can get rather than actually working for it? And so, yeah, that sophomore year where I came back, I ended up winning 6th man of the year in the conference and made it to the NCAA tournament, which is another dream. Like being able to play on that sort of stage is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it was like really the first time we got to have a crowd that year. We're playing against Kansas. So you've got, I think, 4 or 5 of their dudes that were on that team, NBA now.
Yeah.
High level dudes. We're winning the game, probably should have won it. And then Kansas ended up getting smacked the next game by the Mobley brothers.
All right.
Yeah, so that would have been fun to have them sitting in a zone, having Mobley in the middle of it. Us just shooting a bunch of threes, but
suit you, mate.
Dude, it would have been good fun. But yeah, then I kind of played myself into a spot where my coach was like, when he moved to Portland, was like, yeah, you're coming with me no matter what.
And what was that transition like? Like, I mean, I think it's really cool because everyone that talks about COVID and even just spending some time with family over the last few days, COVID got brought back up, and it's like always a negative experience. And it's cool to hear like, oh, I actually developed really good habits out of it. What was the transition to Portland like then?
Well, so I kind of decided like I wasn't going home that year. And so me and my girlfriend at the time, she actually lived like 30 minutes from Portland. And so like I just moved in with her and her family, moved right up to Portland as soon as season got done. And then that way I was around like the school, got familiar with like the area, got to be with my coach, work out. I was like one of only 3 dudes who were up there actually working out.
Yeah.
And so, although it was tough, like not going home, seeing my family, like it'd been a pretty stressful year with all the COVID stuff. It was like, that was kind of my decision. Like, I think for my development, I need to just get up there early, get in the gym, familiarize myself with our strength coach, the area, kind of like the step up that the WCC was going to be. I was fortunate that obviously my coaches I followed my coaches up there. So it was like, I didn't have to learn a new system offensively or defensively. Like I knew going in, I think a big jump for me was just becoming a leader. Like I had great leaders. My freshman, sophomore year, Mason Peterman was really good for us. Sophomore year, Tanner Groves, both of them who won MVP of the league. So having those guys in front of me, I knew that like I was one of 3 dudes that was moving from Eastern Washington with our coach. So I was one of 3 players that really knew the system, like kind of the back of our hand. And so having to be a leader whilst also taking that jump in my own personal game was really good for me. I didn't start off great. Like I had the numbers that looked good, but I wasn't really like being efficient. I was turning the ball over at a high rate. Conference came, I kind of had that same thing where I got COVID this time. And so I had to sit out for like 10 days. It gave me time to just like assess like the first half of the year. And then same thing, I came out in conference, averaged like 16, 5 and 5.
Yeah, I saw that.
Or all WCC. And yeah, I had some pretty historic games for the program. So winning a year they've had in like 10, 12 years.
Yeah, right.
So same thing again, like COVID hit me and it was a good turning point for me again.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
No, it is kind of wild. But yeah, that 3 years of Portland, I feel like is like the main reason why I'm a pro now. And being able to be successful in like my first year, whether it's been like playing 15 minutes a game after not really playing, whether it's been starting for us, having a small role off the bench. Like I think as a first year, everyone looks down on the, like, if you're not playing, if like things are going really well for you and then just drop off, like it's just all part of the learning experience. And it's like basketball at the end of the day. Guys are going to play well, have purple patches where those guys are going to play and other guys aren't. And that's just a part of being a pro and understanding that. But any role that you can have on a good team, I think as a first year pro, like you got to pat yourself on the back, and it's a tough thing to do, and kind of ride the roller coaster of being a pro.
Definitely. I mean, fuck, there's a lot in that. What I was going to say, and kind of latch on to something that you said about that self-reflection you had about how you were approaching adversity. And, you know, a part of what we're trying to find with the show is common traits that pros have and that people that have had success have. And one that obviously not all of them have, but some is that ability to self-reflect. I think that ability to self-reflect, when combined with you also need to be super confident in your own talents to have any success, is a real difficult balancing act. On one hand, I have to say there are parts that I can improve. And on the other hand, you have to say I'm good enough to compete with these people. And if you don't have both of those at the same time, you're in trouble. How do you find balancing that? Because I think especially with the Kings, you really do come in with confidence. You do go at people, but you're also a hungry learner. How do you manage to do both?
I think it's just like players I've played with and coaches I've had. Like, I guess at the end of the day, like you have to be confident but not cocky in your own ability. And so, like I see and like learn from guys ahead of me, and like I try and be a sponge and soak up information. Like you've got X who's played in the NBA, JA who's played in the NBA, high level, like overseas, Cam, same thing. Like Brucey's been a pro for 10, 12 years and like a sustainable pro that's been good on a lot of good teams. Like you've got guys ahead of you that like you can just learn from and kind of soak up what they've gone through before like you have to go through it. And so being able to do that, like even if I don't play, I'm still confident in my own ability. Like it's not because I'm not good enough to play. Like we have such a deep team and a talented team that like every game there's going to be guys like not get in the rotation, guys fall off. Like, and it's not because they're not talented. It's just we've got such a good team that that's just part of like learning and like part of being a pro. Like you see NBA guys, like I think of like when I was with the Wizards this offseason playing summer league, like I didn't really play at the end of the bench, but like a guy that came in and does the same thing for them, Anthony Gill, he's a pro's pro. Like he came in, no one else was in the gym, and he was the only guy that was a rostered guy that was in there watching us practice, trying to help guys, coach him through it. You see him sitting on the bench in their games and like he's up for every guy. Like he never has a down day, and that's part of being a pro's pro. And I think that, like I said, learning from guys ahead of you, like he's a guy that probably a lot of people don't think should be in the NBA, like talent-wise. But those are the sort of people that stick. And I think of like Brucey's like one of those guys. People don't believe in Brucey. Brucey knows what he can do. And he's been able to be a successful pro because, one, he believes in his own ability and then blocks out the outside noise. And I think that like we're all human at the end of the day. We all read the comment section after games, like people DMing you, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think back to like, if you don't have confidence in your own ability, you're not going to be able to go out there and be successful because your self-doubt is going to be ahead of your confidence. And so like I get to play against these sort of guys every day in practice, go against them, be on the same team as them. Like if I can prove it in practice every day, then I know that like when I go out there, we have one of the best teams in the league. Like I'm playing against those sort of guys, if not a little less. So if I can be successful at practice against the really good guys on our team, then why wouldn't I go out there with confidence when I get in there and play with the same confidence that I do in practice?
100%.
No, the proest pro, I really, really like that. And I think we all think of teams we've been in and like even younger experiences. You're talking about like pointing the fingers. I feel like as humans, like especially early on, you revert to that straight away as soon as anything doesn't go your way. Like I'm not playing. And I think like watching you play this season, the players that I work out that are kind of like going through that next path into college, like I tell them, watch like how ready you step in every time. What goes into that? Like what advice would you give to the younger ones, whether it's like a rep team, a school team, going into college, like being able to make that change? Like it's like a switch that almost has to be flipped as soon as you're on the floor. Like what preparation goes into that? Because it's so much easier said than done. You know, so many players fall under that trap and like it snowballs so quickly and they start pointing fingers rather than just like, okay, what do I need to do in this situation? How do I make the most out of it?
One of my favorite sayings would be stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And I think that like that's just the mentality you have to have. Like we saw it at the start of the season for me personally. Like I didn't play the first 3 or 4 games. I felt like I played really well in the preseason and kind of played myself into a spot where like I might play. I didn't play the first 3 or 4 games, and then JA goes down. I have to be ready, and then 3 games later I'm starting. In a 10-day span, I went from not playing to then I was starting. Yeah. And so it's like I can't just like sit in my own self-pity like not playing. Like you always have to stay ready. And so being able to come in and stay ready, have that confidence, that I think why I've been able to, even though my minutes might have dropped since then, I've still stayed in the lineup is because I kind of give us a little bit of a spark or a little something different that like teams aren't used to having to guard. And I think that, staying ready so you never have to get ready has been one of my things. And I think that kind of grew from when I was the sixth man at Eastern Washington. Like I felt like I should have been starting, but it was like, I'm not going to sit there and sulk about not starting. Like being ready, I was sixth man of the year there. And that's kind of where I started to take that upward trajectory. And now I am here and like, I'd love to, whether it's I come off the bench again next year, like I'd love to be a sixth man of the year. I think that's such an underrated role that obviously guys want to play and play 40 minutes, but that kind of like Kawhi's been great for us. And I think of him, like he's going to be in the sixth man of the year conversation because he's always ready when he gets subbed in. He always has that confidence, whether he's been shooting a well the game before or whether he hasn't, like he always comes in and he's always ready to play. And I think that, I guess like the saying, stay ready so you never have to get ready is like what I would give to young people. Like, there's no reason to like sit there and sulk. It's all a part of basketball. Like it's not going to be smooth sailing, but it's easier for me to say now that I've like adapted that. Like I was the exact same way when I was younger.
For sure.
Pointing the finger at everyone. But I think like the hard times you go in, like not only on the court, but also off the court too. Like the upbringing like isn't the easiest. Like I've had times where like I was living on a mattress in like a little movie theater in my grandparents' house, sharing a bed with my sister. Like we had 2 queen size beds for the 4 of us kids to share. Yeah. Because like, I mean, money wasn't like the greatest then, but my parents still found a way to like make sure that we had everything we needed. And so like those kind of adversity off the court as well is easier to kind of, when you get on the court, like it's a basketball game.
It's just fun,
like,
right?
It's perspective at the end of the day. Like people that you lose along the way, people that have impacted you, like it's all a part of the journey. And so having that like adversity hit off the court also helps me, like once adversity hits on the court, like life is not just basketball. And so taking that perspective and enjoying the moments, like even when I wasn't playing, I was still enjoying being around the team. Like that camaraderie and like the relationships you make along the way, I think is what makes basketball like such a fun journey and where you end up.
Definitely. Kind of on the topic of players that you admired playing with, Tyler Robertson's all-time teammate starting 5.
Teammate starting 5. Cool, that's tough because I've had a lot of really good teammates.
Don't think about who you're insulting. You just they weren't in the front of mind.
I'm gonna say my point guard spot, because like I played 5 years of college with my best friend, Mike Meadows. I'm gonna slide JA to the 2.
Oh wow.
JA's been a lot of fun, like the first year that I've been around him.
Sick.
He's just a funny dude and like a character to have around.
He is a character.
Small forward for Summer League, like Corey Kispert.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Dude, he's a hell of a dude. Like I played when I was at Eastern Washington and he was at Gonzaga. We played against each other, and then like every summer, John Stockton has a gym in Spokane, and so we would go down there and there'd be like the Stockton runs, and like you've got all the Gonzaga guys coming through, a bunch of us Eastern guys, like pros coming back from Europe, overseas.
Anyone to name?
Ex pros. Yeah. Like Stockton even played with us too.
What?
Like so, like those sort of experiences, like getting to play with those sort of dudes, like Corey Kispert is like one of like a hell of a dude that I've met.
Yeah.
Power forward Kelly.
Yeah,
I've been playing with him too long to not be on that list.
And a great teammate.
And a great teammate for sure. Yeah. And the center spot, I'm gonna go with Tanner Groves.
I thought you might.
Tanner Groves.
You love Tanner Groves.
The big ticket. That's his nickname, the big ticket.
No way.
Dude, he put on one of the best shows against Kansas that I've seen. Like I think he went like, he hit 7 or 8 threes. Like just a bearded dude looking like a lumberjack. Like we're seeing all these memes after the game. Like me, his brother Jake Groves, who's like 6'9", looks like Napoleon Dynamite.
What?
Like then him, and it's like you've got like a picture of like the 3 of us walking off the court, and like people are saying like these guys are gonna run LA Fitness for the next 25 years. And so just like he's such good fun to be around. Mason Peeling's also a hell of a guy to have at my center spot. Honorable mention for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Mike Meadows, J.A., Corey Kispert, Kelly, Tanner Groves.
It seems like you value good blokes in your team.
100%. I feel like that's part of what makes like the team fun. Is like, So I think back to like our Kings team like now, and like the dudes we have, like it's probably one of the rare things that I've seen when it comes to like being on a team where like it doesn't feel like anyone dislikes each other, or like everyone like has a good relationship with each other, and it doesn't seem like anyone's faking it.
100%.
And I think that's why like when we were going through adversity early on in the season, where like we're on the road for long periods of time, not having really many home games, is like why we've been able to make a little bit of a stand. And like everyone at the end of the day, like we haven't splintered when we've lost games. Like everyone's still tight knit. We feel like we can turn it around. Like it's been on, like the loss has been on us, not like any external factors. Like we just haven't played the way we should play. And I think that it's one of the rare things that I've seen is like being on a team where like everyone generally likes each other. And like I could go hang out with any dude on our team and not feel like it'd be like awkward or uncomfortable.
Forced, yeah.
And I think our Eastern Washington team where we went to the tournament was the exact same thing. We all came back after the COVID break, and it was like we were getting tested every like 2 or 3 days. So the only people we wanted to be around was each other. So then like that way we knew like there was no external influences of like why we could get COVID. Like if we were just hanging out with each other and we were always together, one, it was great for our team and you could see like the chemistry we played with on the court. But two, it just meant that like we could trust one another, and that's like where the trust was built was like before the season started. And I think that the relationships you have with people is like what makes the basketball journey fun. And so, yeah, I definitely cherish a good blog.
Yeah, good. We've been speaking about being a pro a bit and the Kings. But I guess just more broadly talking about the transition from college to pros and leading the team in scoring at Portland and now being a bench role player. And mate, everything else that comes with transition from college to pros. How are you finding that? What's been different? What have you enjoyed? What's been a challenge?
I think like the enjoyable part is like reflecting back on I went through the same thing like going into college. Like I left from being one of the better players to then having to like kind of start from the bottom again and build my way up. And I think if I didn't go through that, like this transition period would have been tough. But like that playing summer league this off season and like I only played one of the 5 games. So like getting used to like having to be ready, but also not getting your name called upon, made like the transition easier for when I wasn't playing. And even like when my roles like kind of come down a little bit from what it was. But I think it's also been a lot of fun, like the transition, like seeing how different I am from like the transitions I've gone from either like before I left for college to college or even like the transition between each college team I played for. I think like enjoying it and embracing it has been like the best part. Like it's definitely a different style of basketball, very like up tempo, but people are happy to swing the ball. Like I think that it got used to like America where like I was the guy on our team and like I was the one making a lot of the decisions for us. Like kind of our wins and losses were a bit dependent on how I played or distributed the ball.
For sure.
And so it's been enjoyable to come back and like get to play a role rather than having like the big role on the team. Like getting used to playing a role and like, I guess like not having as much pressure put on me and like as many eyes on me, but also like enjoying like the moments I'm out there. And obviously like I'd love to be playing 40 minutes a game, but I know that me playing the role that I play is just as important as any other guy that's playing more minutes than me.
I really like that. And I think going more in depth about like changing the role, and obviously you said you had the ball in your hands more in college, like what does that transition look like in terms of your workouts, in terms of the approach? Like I assume it's more stuff movement-wise, like spot ups, I have the ball for 3 or so seconds, how do I make decisions? What does that look like making that transition?
I think like getting, like I probably wasn't expecting to come in and play like the point guard spot, but I've like loved playing it. Like I played point in college when it was like a bigger guy was guarding me. Like I was happy to bring the ball up, initiate the offense. When a smaller guy was guarding me, it was a lot of like I'll go down, roll into the post, and play with like my back to the basket. And so playing the point, like I definitely had a few weeks there where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this at a high level. But I think that like once you get through that like couple weeks where like Gorge kind of like said, like got on me a bit, and like he kind of was like in that position where he felt like a little bad, that he felt like he was getting on me the whole time. And I've always been told like if a coach is coaching you and coaching you hard, it means they care and like they want you to be better. Like you should start to get worried if a coach stops coaching you. And so like I've enjoyed the process of like one, playing for like a defensive minded coach. It's probably the first time I've really had that. And then two, just like the ups and the downs of like changing position and like trying to solidify myself as like a good pro for like years to come. And I think that role is going to be at like that 1-2 position.
Yeah, 1-2.
And so I guess it's good like being kind of up and down with like minutes played and get used to like the role I'm playing. And I think that I'm only going to be better for it each and every game.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I guess like the change of the position, difference in workouts, like a lot of reads out of ball screen. And just like using my IQ, playing off 2 feet, not getting sped up, are all things that I'm learning along the way. Different reads, different ball screen coverages. And I think that college also helped that. Like I probably saw every sort of defensive coverage you could really see in a college game. And so that really helped me like before coming out here.
And do you feel more confident now sliding to the 2?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think naturally I thought I was like a combo guard, but more like the 2-3.
Yeah.
And so getting used to playing like strict combo of 1-2 has been a lot of fun. Getting to play off the ball and on the ball has been really good for my development. And I think that the more I get used to doing it, the more growth I'm going to see, the more confident like I become with doing it. And so even just having like the defensive minded shift where like I know if I want to stay and impact the game a lot, yeah, the offense is great, but I'll stay out there longer if I'm doing better on the defensive end. And that's what like I even got subbed out at last game when we played Illawarra, and Gorge just pulled me aside and just said like, if you want to stay in the game, it's defensively. I know what you can do offensively, stay defensive minded. And so just being able to have that kind of mindset switch has been important and been a lot of fun.
All right, rapid fire question bowl. Shaq and I are going to grab questions and we're just going to shoot them at you. All right, you have no time to think.
What are these about?
This could be about anything.
Oh,
they could be about literally anything. Jordan or LeBron?
LeBron.
Summer or winter?
I enjoy summer, but I think I'm more winter so I don't get sunburned.
You thought too much about that.
Nice.
Yeah, I did.
Cricket or rugby?
Cricket.
What sport would you play if it wasn't basketball?
AFL.
What would your superpower be?
Teleportation.
Dunks or threes?
Threes.
Favorite NBL player not on your team?
Ooh. I'm going to have to say Bryce Cotton.
Free throw routine? Anything that you do at the line?
A spin, one dribble, and like a deep breath before I shoot it.
Fantastic. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
You were pretty good at that. Anyway, sausage roll or meat pie?
Sausage roll from a bakery.
Are you a early riser or night owl?
No, early riser.
Yeah.
I got used to with a 6 a.m. workouts at college. Yeah, you got to be ready for that wake up call.
How many times on quarter day? Is it twice? Like you?
Yeah, so usually it's like we did what we call breakfast club, which is like 30 minutes before our weight session. We just do like finishes around the rim, just touch shots, threes, go into weights. That's like an hour. And then you have like 30 minutes in between to kind of have like a snack and a little break. Then we practice for like 2 hours, 2 and a bit hours. And then usually come back at nighttime and shoot.
Yeah, shoot around. Like going in depth on shooting, right? Being like working with elite level athletes that are younger and trying to develop that shooting mindset. I find it so interesting. Like I think the confidence you shoot the ball with, even when like coming in and you might be cold. Like how do you address that? What does the work look like going into it? Like how many shots up do you put a week? Because you get all these kids that tell you like athletes like, I'm putting in the work. And it's like, no, you're not. We can tell. How do you go about that? What does that look like?
I think like it's funny because Gus and I always talk about this all the time. Every time I get subbed in, it's like right away I'll have like a shot that I should shoot right away. And it's like it doesn't matter. Like it happened in New Zealand too. Like I just sat the whole first half And even like midway through the third, I came in and almost the first possession I'm in, the ball gets tipped to me, I'm wide open on the 3. And I'm like, do I shoot it? But I was like, nah, I got to shoot it. And like, I think I always like, even guys like X who like, people aren't used to him shooting threes, but he's shooting usually 1 or 2 a game this year. Kawhi, like, I think every person that puts in the work and like believes they're a good shooter needs to always believe that the next one's always in. And I think that there's probably no better person than Kawhi on our team that like has that mentality.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't believe like the next one's going in, then it's like you're almost playing 4-on-5 on offense. And I think that aggressive mindset, like believing the next shot is always in, is something you have to have. And so the preparation, the routine you do, like I'm not a big believer on like you have to shoot this many shots a week or this many shots in a workout. I think that game reps, even like game mindset of like the reps that you take, and just like whether it's you come in and you shoot 50 shots or 100 shots, like I don't think there's a specific number. It's just if you know that like you're putting in the work, then you have that confidence, and then that confidence just carries over to the game. And so I know like when I was like growing up and like they'd always bring up DJ Vasiljevic, and he was always getting up like 3,500 shots a week when he was up at the Institute.
Wow.
And that was always like the number that everyone thought, okay, to be a shooter like DJ, I got to shoot 3,500. And then like you go to college, like your body's just not able to like put in that sort of work.
It's a lot.
And so like for me, I was playing 36 minutes a game at Portland for the 3 years I was there. And it was like, I couldn't sustain doing breakfast club every morning, weights, practice. Now I've got 2 to 3 games a week of 35, 36 minutes. Then like have to back it up, and then I've got a lot of film to watch because I'm playing so much. And it's like, for me, there was times where getting in a workout and like getting confidence in my shot was legitimately walking in, doing form shooting and walking out. And so it's like, it's different for everyone. Everyone has their own routine, but yeah, mine is like always form shooting to start and then kind of build your way back out, rather than just like going straight into threes. I do like the idea of like, at least if like you're a shooter and like you're coming off the bench, like walking straight into a gym and shooting threes right away.
Yeah.
I like that idea because like that's kind of what you got to get used to.
In a game, for sure.
But yeah, I think everyone has their own routine. So finding that routine for yourself that one gives you confidence, you're getting in your reps, and then like it's transitioning to the game. I think everyone just needs to find that routine.
For sure. Robbo, we really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and yeah, excited to see how the future plays out for you, mate.
Thank you guys for having me.
All the best.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank you,
you.
brother.
No worries at all.
Good.